Yeshivas Daf Kov Zayin. A Mishnah on the previous daf permitted a woman to remain married to a Kohen if taken captive for a monetary matter, but not for a capital crime. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yitzchak explained that this applied when Jewish courts or governments yielded some influence over the Gentiles. But when the Gentiles were not influenced at all by Jewish courts or governments, she was prohibited to her husband even if taken captive for a monetary matter. Rava brings a Mishnah concerning a wife of a Kohen, where witnesses, generally unqualified to testify, testified that she pledged herself as a security for a debt to the Gentiles in Ashkelon. Despite that the debt was not paid, she was not violated by them. The husband's family discredited their testimony because they claimed she was more vulnerable than a captive woman. The Chachamim disagreed, requiring of them to accept their testimony as it was a Pesha Asher, Pesha Hitir. Question: the Philistines ruled Ashkelon. Despite this, the courts only required witnesses for a woman taken as a pledge, but not one incarcerated for a money matter. The answer: the Gemara brings two explanations. The actual case was the woman taken as a pledge, but there is no legal difference between her and one incarcerated for a money matter. Both need witnesses to be permitted to their husbands. The second is that there is a difference between women being a pledge for a debt and incarcerated for a crime. Their law was a woman pledged his property for the creditor, whereas one incarcerated is not. She remains permitted even without witnesses. However, a wife incarcerated for a capital crime is prohibited to her husband. Rav explains that a wife of a thief who's sentenced to be hung, she and his property are not protected by law. According to Levi, only the wife of a murderer. According to Chizkiah, only if the husbands were actually sentenced to death. Before this point, his wife and property are protected by law. However, Rabbi Yochanan prohibits the wives even before sentencing. Mishnah. Wives of Kohanim in a city under siege are prohibited to their husbands suspected of being violated. However, if a witness, even a slave or slave woman, who were with them testified on their behalf, they are permitted, but they cannot testify on behalf of themselves. Question: Mishnah Avodah Zarah states that soldiers passing through a city in peaceful times prohibit open wine barrels suspected of being used for libations to their idols. In times of war, even open barrels are permitted because the soldiers are preoccupied. Why should wives be prohibited? Just as if they have no time for libations, they have no times to violate women. Answer: Rav Mary explains that soldiers are more driven by lust than religious rights. Yitzchak ben Elazar explains that women of a city under siege belonging to the kingdom of the invading army are permitted to their husbands because they want the inhabitants to remain loyal. One Amora holds it suffices for them to guard the city. Another Amora holds they must surround the city with chains that clank when one trips, dogs that bark, geese that honk, making guards that doze off, wake up, and spikes that slow down the intruders. However, an invading army of a different kingdom is suspect of pillage and rape. Is this city the women are prohibited? Ridi Bar Avin states that if there is a place in the city where the woman can hide, such as a tunnel, they remain permitted to their husbands. Question: how is this different than two people walking on paths, one tummy and one tor, one asking a Rav if he and his friends are tummy? According to Rav Yossi, it is as if they came together. Rav cannot permit both of them. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it is similar to one coming after the other. Since his friend is not present, he does not answer about his friend's status explicitly. His friend can infer from his friend's answer to himself. Similarly, in our Mishnah, when one came to the Rav, he ruled to permit all of them, even though some were violated. However, according to Rabbi Yossi, since the suspicion is on all of them, it is as if they all came at the same time, all forbidden. The answer: the cases are not comparable. There was definitely Tumah on one of the paths. When the Rav rules for both, he cannot rule Tar. However, it is possible that none of the women were violated. Question: does a court accept the woman's claim, I did not hide, but I was not violated? Perhaps her claim is accepted because she has a better claim, that she could have hid herself, or not because the hiding place was only large enough for one woman. The answer: the Gemara attempts to resolve the inquiry comparing it to a donkey rental. The owner stipulated the renter must not travel by way of Nahar Pakod, where water is always on its banks, but by way of Narish. The renter admitted he traveled by Nahar Pakod, but claimed there was no water. The animal died for other reasons. Rav accepted it. He could have claimed that he did not travel by Nahar Pakod. Abaye disagrees. Since it is always wet by Nahar Pakod, the court is Anan Sadi, or a Migu Mokim Eidim, teaching that a Migu cannot be applied where there is evidence to the contrary. Similarly, an our case, it is presumed that any woman who remained exposed was violated. She has no migo. Witnesses always testify that there is water on the banks of Nahar Pakod. However, concerning these women, there's only a strong suspicion that they were violated, not sufficient to nullify their migo. The Mishnah states that a slave woman, implying even her personal slave, is believed. Question: a woman who received the get and then secluded herself with her husband and slave woman, the get becomes a get yashin, one disqualified not to disparage the child as having been born out of wedlock. This proves that the court cannot trust testimony of her slave woman. Mipnei sheliba gaspa, her mistress is familiar with her, trust that she would not expose her indiscretions to others. Answer: Rav Papi answers that the Chachamim were more lenient when there is only a strong suspicion that she was violated, accepting testimony even from those normally disqualified. Rav Papi explained that our case refers to the husband's slave woman. She will testify truthfully about the wife's status for his benefit. Although our Mishnah states Ein Adam Me'id Al Atzmo, implying even her slave woman is believed, it is in fact includes her slave. The Gemara concludes that if reported the incident as a Mesiach Lefituma, innocently, not being aware her testimony has any legal ramification, she is believed even according to Rav Papa. Rav Ashi explained that both cases refer to a slave woman. She is not suspect of lying, but only to remain silent, not to cause damage to her mistress. Therefore, she is suspect to remain silent about her cohabiting after a get, but not to remain silent about her being violated, because her mistress is permitted only with such a testimony.